Great news. The Drop with Frank and Brian is officially brought to you by Switch Suspension. Switch Suspension specializes in all vehicle chassis components. Lift kits, lowering kits, air ride suspension, wheels, tires, steering, and brake upgrades. They use all the best products from the best brands. And these guys are truck guys. You roll into their parking lot at the shop and they all drive custom vehicles. So they use their products that they sell on their own vehicles. So if you guys are looking for anything for your vehicles, whether you're just starting out or you just need some replacement parts or whatever, give them a call or visit their website, switchsuspension.com. Yeah, I'm recording. I'm ready to go.
Me too. What are we talking about?
I know. I'm not in the mood. I'm in the mood, but I am I'm not like this giddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Same.
We're not giddy today, but welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. The Drop Frank and Brian. I'm Frank.
You kind of caught me a little off guard because you were like later this afternoon. And I was like, oh, like 2, 3.
Oh, yeah. No, I meant like around like afternoon, like 12.
Oh.
I just had a couple things to do this morning. And I was, I'll be honest with you, I was feeling the same way. I was like trying to garner up the motivation to do this. What's wrong with us?
After we kind of biffed on Sunday.
Yeah, that was a kind of a first that we were
I feel
late.
real bad because I wanted to put a ton more footage on that video.
Yeah.
Like I had a bunch of footage ready to go, but this guy that reviews our podcast
did not timestamp that stuff to make it easy for you.
So in this one, as you're reviewing, think, oh, we could put
Right
Danny's truck there. Oh, we could put the drone footage here. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
So,
and also we're recording on a Tuesday, and we usually like later on in the week. I'm like not this whole thing is like
same way. I'm like, I was like, oh, should I go shave? Nah.
Yeah. So here we are.
Yeah.
So here we are. It's the weekend after Dino's. It was a ton of fun. I had so much fun this weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, tell me about it. Cause, so basically I tell you to tell me about it. And then I start talking. Yeah, it was weird because as overwhelming as that was, I was relaxed the entire time.
Yeah. Well, I was relaxed in a different sense, so I guess I could set it up that way. So this is my first time going to Dino's Get Down out in Phoenix, where you're at, and this truck show. It's a Chevy only truck show on Friday, and then it's a Chevy GM only show on Saturday.
Yeah,
but wow, that's the only way I could describe it. It was intense. There was so much going on. It was held at the State Farm Stadium, the Cardinal Stadium there in Arizona, and it was massive. Is literally the only way to put it. It was massive and intense.
What is that noise?
Oh, what is that noise?
Oh, it's the garbage truck. It kept progressively getting louder and louder. I was like, what is that? Yeah. So last year, so this is the first year you've been.
Yes. And it was cool because this being my first year, a lot of people said that this was the biggest ever, the biggest it's ever been. So I kind of was like cool with the fact, not cool with the fact, but I thought it was neat that let's say Dino's didn't happen next year. At least I went to the biggest one.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So the history of Dino's Get Down.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to lay that on me. Give me the whole history.
Essentially, it started in his backyard as like a kickback for the Good Guys show. So a couple of truck guys and at that time, Good Guys didn't really allow some of the newer trucks in. Like when I say newer, I'm talking like in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So they all got together at Dino's house and hung out. There was probably like 10 people. And I don't know the full story on that, but then it moved to a shop. So Dino owns an appliance repair shop near downtown Phoenix. And it's got a bay in the back. It's got like a little yard in the back. And then across it from that is a vacant lot, like across the street. So the first year I went, it kind of took up the shop and then it took up the vacant lot across the street. And then I went I think it happened 2 more times there. And it was just crazy because it's one side of it is kind of industrial, like strip malls and stuff. And then the other side is a neighborhood.
Okay.
So you had people just parking where they could in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And then he moved it to a water park, outgrew that. And then he moved it to where it is now, which is Westgate, but not in the stadium parking lot. Westgate, the parking lot next to the movie theater and stuff, which is that whole complex there is insanely huge.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you look at it from like the map, there's more parking over there than anyways. And so this year there's I keep hearing numbers, 5,000 trucks, 6,000 trucks. It's hard to say because he doesn't charge. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of just
that's like the other interesting thing about it. He throws this show being as massive as it was, like no one paid to get in.
No, not even spectators.
Yeah. Wow.
It was, yeah. So, and that's kind of, he keeps that tradition of when it was in his backyard and at his shop, it was a get down, it was a get together.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so, I heard a lot of people complaining that they couldn't get in or they waited very long times to get in, but
it's like, well, you really can't complain for, the type of event that people are going to and the type of event that people are getting.
Yeah. And as soon as I got there early on all days, so it wasn't a big deal to me, but I know a few people that got there and they had to sit in quite a bit of a line. But basically next year, if there's big lines, go to the other side of the stadium.
Yeah.
And go in the back way.
Yeah.
Don't try to
I thought I came in that way. So I came in on, I don't know how to describe it, but I came in that way. And it was pretty easy to park. It was actually a closer parking lot and it was like real close to where we had the vendor booth set up.
Oh yeah. So you came in by the RV show.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So they were trying that RV show that was there was trying not to let people in.
Oh,
so you
really?
Got lucky. You got lucky.
I snaked in there. Both days I kind of snaked in there.
Yeah. So, but if you're for anyone listening to this and they want to go and you're trying to get there, go to the east side of the stadium.
Okay.
The show is on the west side of the stadium. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking in your head oh, there's plenty of parking over there. It's a huge stadium. Mm-hmm. Nope. Just go to the east side of the stadium. Mm-hmm. Don't even try to mess around.
Yeah. No, it was a great show. So now we can now that we've laid the exactly what the show is and stuff, why it was sort of relaxing from my point of view was you set up a vendor booth and I didn't, but I snuck a couple t-shirts into your booth. So I wasn't there. I wasn't setting up the booth, making sure I was there super early every day. We always talk about the no expectations for a video thing, I'm kind of new to the whole C10 world, so no one even probably knows what my videos are. So it was really refreshing to go in there with just exploring, just checking stuff out, exploring, having no real pressure to do anything specific.
Well, what's funny is you can do that in all your videos.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Your pressure is like a self-pressure thing.
Yeah, it's self-inflicted.
That's kind of my thing too, and that's why I made that whole no show coverage video, right? Because I don't want people to expect a video. When I go to a show and I come home and hey, where's the video? Hey, where's the video? It's maybe I didn't make one.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, and I love that event because as far as the pressure wise goes, because we get to set up Thursday, and then you leave, and then you get to come back and your booth is essentially set up.
Right.
There is no trying to set it up the same day. That really kicks your butt when you're trying to especially setting up and tearing down in the same day. Setting up, selling, filming, tearing down that. It's real tough. So I really like that. And especially that it went from 9 a.m. to essentially 9 p.m.
That was another cool part.
Yeah. So you're there a long day. If it's 10 o'clock, you're oh, I need to go out and film. Yeah, no problem. You can do it at any point in time during the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's cool to hear from your perspective that the pressure that was off of you was the rushing, because
that and also Mike's there.
Mike
Milan.
Oh, Milan. Oh yeah. Who? Yeah, he got some great footage that day. So
his contribution with the mic on the mic stuff there, because he knows everybody there essentially, and he also does the drone stuff. So that the drone stuff and then the mic on the mic stuff. I mean, that's half of the video stuff. So I just have to go around and get the detail stuff and I get a couple people talking and stuff, but that it just takes so much pressure off and it's super nice. And obviously, Patty and Kim and you guys, everyone helping at the booth, and like it just that show just works out. So I get really excited for it.
That was another great part that I enjoyed, was just like being in the booth with everybody. You know, like we had a bunch of club members there, which was really cool. Danny and Patty from SenCal came out and brought Danny's OBS, which was awesome. And so you had took off. We stayed at your pad. And then you took off early in the morning, so me and Danny kind of came later, which was great because your long road out there made like perfect for getting some rollers of Danny's truck, and just kind of it was just like super just easy-going. Like everything was easy-going for, which is funny for a truck show with 5,000 trucks.
It's the biggest truck show in the world, I think.
I would say so.
All truck show, because. Okay, you have LST. There's 2,000 vehicles there. First of all, they're not all trucks. They're not all Chevys. And then, so what would be next to LST?
I don't even know. Well, I mean, there's those like, I've never been to them, but what about like Daytona Truck Meet and...
Yeah, but that's like lifted trucks, and there's still maybe 2,000 there. You know, and I'm talking like just... I don't know. It has to be. There's like the cruise on Woodward or something like that. I think it is. Oh,
the NorCal one.
No, that's like it's like the north. It's like in the Northeast.
Okay.
It's like Minnesota, or I don't even know what it is. But there's 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 cars there. But it's all cars.
Yeah.
Maybe a mix of cars and trucks. But as far as all trucks, and mostly lowered trucks, like 95%.
Oh, I would say higher than that. I did not really see any lifted trucks.
No, and then, there's like K5 Blazers.
Okay, yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
talking about like LST style lifted trucks.
Oh, that's
like,
true. Yeah,
I'm talking about like classic lifted trucks. And then almost all classic trucks essentially. It's like it has to be the biggest one in the world.
Oh yeah, I would say so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it was great. My experience also. Again, not to go back to that note, we're going to talk about this a lot, this whole no pressure thing, because I think it's good to talk about. But again, like a whole nother no pressure thing was like, I honestly only went out to past the vendors only a couple times. And maybe some people were like, well, you know, how come you didn't go out there or whatever? But there was so much stuff, even where we are. I mean, there were like probably 10 rows of vendors, right?
I think there was
more than that. It was huge. Like, it was huge. There were so many vendors and so many cool trucks in those vendor booths that I was like, this is enough, not enough cool stuff, but like cool stuff that I just want to focus on this. Like,
and I kind of feel bad because I started to look at some other people's footage and photos of the rest of the trucks out in the general, I don't want to say general parking, but it's basically the show. Because you have the vendor rows. Then in the middle of the vendor rows is the top trucks, which was right across from us. And then you have the C10 clubs, all the C10 clubs from all over the United States.
They were like behind us, yeah.
They're like behind us. And then you have the general show area. It's so big.
You literally couldn't, let's say you tried to do it like you have to like cover the whole show. Impossible. I don't think you could. With one dude and one camera, it's impossible. And you were two dudes with two cameras, Mike doing his thing and you doing your thing, and there's still no possible way that you could have saw everything or went everywhere.
And it sucks because there were some awesome trucks. Now that I look back,
I'm not looking at footage.
I'm looking at footage and I'm like, not even filmed or anything. I just wish I would have seen it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like. That's what's nice about it being 2 days. So if you're just there as like a general spectator, you could get through it maybe in 2 days. But it's tough either way.
No, definitely. So, and that was talking about the vendor experience. It was almost like an expo.
Yeah, it was. It was like a SEMA.
It was like a SEMA. Yeah, it's like a SEMA or some sort of like, you know, it reminded me of, remember the off-road expo like in Pomona? Something more like that, but like with lowered, you know, trucks, classic trucks and stuff. But yeah, that was another amazing thing. Like, it wasn't just like and I'm not saying just like a regular show where there's a few like clothing vendors and, you know, something else. It was giant companies coming out with massive booths, like diesel truck semi-sized booths. I mean, it was intense. And not only that, but you had companies giving away stuff. Like that was the other like pretty big part that blew me away is like you have companies that were giving away the like massive prizes, like what are they called, the repop guys?
AMD, all metal direct.
Yeah, AMD, like they gave away a full truck, like the body parts, like the cab, the fenders, the hood. Did it have a frame? That's one thing I didn't know. I don't know if it had a frame.
No, I don't think so, because they just basically sell repop.
Right. Yeah, that kind of blew my mind a little bit. Like I was walking past it, and I was talking to Angie, which that brings me to another point. And I was like, yeah, that right there, that is a 2023 square body truck.
Yeah, like there's one they're building at Tray 5 right now. That company Premier, they're out in Havasu. They do the same thing, and they're certified. They're certified by Chevy too.
Oh wow!
Like within specs, so you could. It's just such an amazing thing that you could have it. You could have a truck, a 1967 whatever C10 with no original parts on it.
Right, I know, it's crazy. The VIN, basically.
Yeah.
I wonder if they even get into that as well. Like, I wonder. This is just me thinking out loud, but like building a 2023 square body, like getting a new VIN. Anyway, I don't know. My brain is just sort of like, my brain is just thinking. But anyway, another neat part that for me for this show was, I said earlier, me and Angie were walking around. Me and Angie got to walk around the whole time together, which was awesome, because so many times does Angie, you know, come to these events and just she's stuck in the booth all day. Barely gets to go walk around. So it was really awesome that every time I went out to film, Angie went with me. And it was really cool. And I actually got some cool content too, because like, you know, I'm pretty knowledgeable about what's going on, and I can speak a lot on the different trucks and things that are going on. And so in the beginning, I was like, kind of like, oh, this, won't go into detail, but it's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then she's all like, and then I started talking and she's like, stop, hold on. And then she would like record me talking about that. So it was neat. And then like walking around, we saw this square body C30 that I'm figuring out I'm really into those, because I had one. I had one, and I said, and the story is like I had this, I don't know what year it was, like late 80s C30 crew cab dually. It was static dropped. It was super low. It was really low. And at the time, Angie was going to college in Long Beach, and so I was like giving her different cars to drive because she didn't have her own car. And so I gave her a wide variety of cars, including like some really, really crappy ones. But that's a different story. But, you know, for a while, she drove this C30 to school. She drove my 83 Cadillac for a while to school. And then finally, when we bought her a mini truck, she was driving a Mazda on Hydros to school. So so it was like this cool, neat little story that I got to tell on the vlog. And she had fun. It was really cool. She had fun walking around and checking all this stuff out. So I think that was another huge like benefit to the show. Yeah, that made it really fun.
Yeah, it's I don't know. There's just so much. I mean, and then what else? It was just we were talking about like I was just talking to Lonnie from Garage Gear.
Mm-hmm. That was another great thing, seeing all of our friends like Lonnie coming out to the West Coast. You know, so that was great.
He was like, we need to be next to each other next year, like in the same row. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I'll talk to Dino and hopefully we can make that happen, where it's like, you know what I mean? You had like Ronnie from C10 Talk, and then us, and then Joe, and then if we get Lonnie in the mix there, and it's just like this row of just all of us just talking crap to each other. And
that was so much fun. Like when we have our like mega booth at LST, where it's like you, me, Joe, you know, Lindsay's there. Like, it's just like we have such a good time. Yeah, it's so much fun all day, like nonstop all day. It's a good time.
There is a little downside to the whole Dino's thing in the fact that it is so busy. Mm-hmm. And Joe has his trailer behind the booth because he obviously needs to keep his stuff. I mean, he has a lot of merch.
Yeah, same thing I do in mine when I set up.
Yeah. But it's like it's so busy. There's there's almost not very much room for people to hang out. And I don't like telling people like, oh, hey, don't come to the booth. Mm-hmm. And it's like even after this, I had a bunch of people from the club, and they're like, hey, we're probably going to go next year. And I'm just like, heck yeah. But that creates a problem in itself. Yeah. Because there's if we were pretty maxed out there. If there becomes like 5 more people that come with chairs, there's no room.
That's true. Oh, we just set up
So-
that like little like 10 by 10 behind that kind of.
Yeah, but it was full.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
You
Yeah,
had to
that's
remember there
true,
was my banners were back there, my restock was back there.
Yeah.
And all that. So it's like at the same time, I feel bad. Like it's if we don't get a bigger booth, there's gonna have to be like another area for people to hang out at.
Well, I mean, if it's the same setup as it was this year, there is. Like Dino offered that whole grass area for clubs to set up easy ups and hang out. And
yeah, but it's different when you have a booth with that's. You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
People
so like,
wanna
yeah,
be
it's
at the
going to be a
booth,
little,
so
yeah.
They would cut the whole feel of what we had this year off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
They
true.
would
I was
change
more
it.
speaking from it, like when you were talking about, us, Joe, Lonnie, like and I'm not saying like, the club takes away from this. I'm just saying that unique, like dynamic we have as, vendors. Like we can all squish together because it's one of the things. Like when I talk to people who don't know about anything that we do, I started explaining it. I say, I travel all over the country and go to different car shows. I ride with my buddy and we go. We do this stuff. And then they say, what does your buddy do? I said, the exact same thing I do. He sells merch. He makes videos, and they're often kind of like puzzled. They're like, and you guys like. That doesn't like cause competition or anything like that, and it doesn't and that's the kind of the dynamic that I'm talking about. We could have all of our companies and we're all selling the exact same stuff, and it's just this fluid it's like this. I don't know how to describe it. Like our group is like just fluid,
Yeah, and you have to be that way even if you're not friends with people, because especially at like Dino's. Okay, so they put all the apparel companies together, so you have. There was probably 3 rows of just apparel company.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Plus all the other vendors there had their own apparel too. So whether it was like Tray 5, so they're a suspension, but they still had apparel there. So you're competing with 100, like 100. They had 145 vendors. So
wow, I didn't know the exact number. That's amazing.
At least 100 or more had merch.
Wow.
So you're competing with all these people. So I had this conversation with someone there. And I said, it's up now that it's not, yes, it is a competition, but no, it's not because it's a competition with yourself, because if you're not selling merch, that's your problem.
Yeah. Then you need to like figure out something that appeals to the customers.
Exactly. So it's like, it's the same thing when we go to any show. If you sold way more merch than I did, then I have to be like, well, why am I not? Mm-hmm. It's not your fault that I'm not selling. It's my fault that I'm not selling.
Right.
So, but yeah, we were talking to Lonnie about that, and that would be cool if we were all set up. And the nice thing like about LST when it goes back to like the club hanging out is behind us at LST is just all a big field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're at Dino's, behind us is another booth. So you're very limited. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get a bigger booth, or we're going to try to get like that whole square. So like we're behind us too. Where we would have that booth behind us, and we can put some vehicles there. And
yeah, that's a good idea. Having the club there was awesome, and that added another like layer of fun to it as well. I hope more people do come out. But like, so our club being a mini truck club, like Danny has an OBS, and we have other people in the club who have OBS trucks and a couple C10s and stuff. But I mean, where the majority of us is, compact trucks, mini trucks.
It's not trucks. Though. Is it really? Because let's look at Eric has a full size Chevy. Mm-hmm. Dave has SoCal Dave
Brother
has a
Dave,
full size Chevy. Yep. So like that's where I always say, like when people you always hear it. Oh, I'm so sick of C10s. I'm so sick of C10s. Mm-hmm. They're not ever going away, and they're like what is it? If you can't beat them, join them type thing.
Yeah.
Because the thing is old cars, especially in California, if you're trying to build anything from the 80s, late 70s, 80s, 90s, you're going to run into problems with emissions.
Oh, for sure.
So it's always pre-74 that are going to be the most popular vehicles, and that's why that scene has completely blown up, because there is no rules.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was talking to a couple of people, like I was talking to Danny, and he goes, man, I want to do something, but I can't. I have to keep it this, and like you were saying, like you like 80s C30s and stuff. It's like, well, if you can't build an 80 C30 and be smog compliant, it's like unless you find a stock one that's never been messed with, and even then, it would be hard, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I found myself, so I was like trying to figure out what I like, and I like everything. I like everything. Everything there was awesome. But I was trying to figure out what I really like, and I think I'm narrowing it down to OBS trucks, early '90s OBS trucks. I think is what's doing it for me, and the late '80s C30s, like you said, like you just described exactly what I was thinking. Like those are the ones that I'm really kind of attracted to. You know,
well, the early '90s and the late '90s OBSs are the same except for the interior.
Well, I know that, but we know that I'm a square dash OBS guy. I'm also a 4-door guy. What can I say? What are you writing down?
Nothing.
Are you giving me a mark?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you had a good deal on a new square box, I could just see you like walking up, you had some money in your pocket, and you're like, all right, I'm in the market for an OBS, and they're like, this guy's like, I got a 96 and it's $4,000, and this guy goes, I got a 92 and it's $8,000, and you're like, I'll take the $8,000 one because of the dash.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't do that.
No, yeah, I know you wouldn't do that.
I'm just saying. Well, we already figured out that like that would never be a scenario, would it? Because the square dash ones are very less. I'm not going to say they're not worthless or anything. They're just less sought after than the late '90s.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too hard to get an OBS.
Yeah, well, so, and now that they are making some stuff for the square dashes. That one at SEMA had a, I think Dakota Digital now is making like some stuff for the square dash ones. So, and that was always the biggest problem with the square dash ones, was you had this outdated dash where you really couldn't update it. Whereas the late '90s, you could update to like a Dakota Digital. Get the new, what's it called, like the new climate control clusters and things like that, because all that stuff goes bad. It just cracks and degrades and stuff. So
yeah, Danny was telling me that a company sells like a whole brand new dash for those now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you can, So I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of like the thing about this whole C10 scene. That's the point of it, really. And you know, we often like kind of lament in the fact that we as mini truckers are like very DIY and like building stuff that doesn't exist and having to work with what we have. That is the complete opposite. And the benefit for those C10 trucks is you can jump right in them, and there's parts everywhere.
It's also, like, yeah, some mini truckers say like, oh yeah, I like to do this myself. Well, you only like to do it yourself because you have to do it.
Exactly.
If there was like for my Tacoma, like if Dakota Digital made an aftermarket cluster, I would be like, yeah, I want that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And it's already like with that Hell's Gates, kit for a Tacoma that Max had designed. You're going to buy that kit before you're going to sit there and try to like.
Not really. That kit is very expensive.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But take away the price point.
Oh, yeah.
Like having to like either figure out how to make drop spindles for your Tacoma or buying a set. You know, if financially that wasn't an issue, you would just do that. Right. Yeah. And that's the point that I'm trying to make for C10 trucks. And that was cool. Like after the show, after the get down, we went over to Joe's house to hang out for a bit. And that was one thing that I was kind of like telling Angie about Joe's truck, the chain reaction truck. Like he built that truck before any of that stuff was available. Yeah. You know, and then we were like, I was like telling her about it, and Joe kind of overheard us, and he came over and like started talking to us, and you know, he was like, he's saying like, yeah, that's how it was. But even he's like, now that there's so much stuff, he'd rather just swap that frame out and put a new frame under it, just because they're built so much. Yeah, I don't want to say better because I'm not.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the builder.
In his own words, he said better. He's like, yeah, they're just better.
Yeah, it also depends on who's building it, right?
Yeah, right.
Like the kit that Max has keeps all your geometry straight. Versus if you don't know what you're doing, sometimes you can mess it up. But
yeah,
and all of that whole world of Dino's get down and the C10s and all that stuff, you can thank mini truckers for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
That's my favorite part. You know what I mean? Is kind of busting those guys' balls. But then it kind of goes back to what you were saying about the club being there and more of the club. That's because these worlds are just colliding now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, look how many mini truckers were there.
Oh, yeah. So, oh, man. That was another really cool thing, too. and we always talk about this, and it's developing this complex, but whatever. You know, we went to the Slowdown, and I felt like I was in this new world, and like, you know, all of this different stuff. But going to this show, I felt like at home. Like I saw so many friends there, just walking around.
Yeah. So that's the thing. And the more you go to them, the more people you meet, and the more you feel a part of it. It's just a natural thing.
Yeah, it was really cool walking around and like seeing a bunch of like the C10 dudes and hey, what's going on? You know, it was really cool. Like so that this is all sort of like, you know, I don't know what the right word is, but yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. It was fun.
Everyone always says, "Oh, this, and that." And I'm just like, it's the same thing. It's different trucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you 100%. walked into the tailgating area where the clubs were, that's. Essentially, if you change the name to Forbidden Fantasy, Relaxed Atmosphere, Sever Ties on all those easy ups, and then you see everyone cooking tacos and you see everyone doing this, it's all the same thing.
And you want to know what? There were aftermath. There was no regrets. They were all there.
Yeah. They
were all there.
It's all trucks.
It's
all
just
about
custom
doing things.
stuff.
Well, yeah, it's all about doing things to trucks that you're not supposed to do.
Exactly.
That's what mini truckers are, and those are just bigger versions and older versions of mini trucks. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm here for it. I love it, and it's fun. I had a ton of fun. Yeah, the whole weekend, like the whole drive back, I would just be cruising. And I'm like, I had so much fun. So it was really, I don't want to say refreshing because everything we do is fun, and I'm not saying anything else isn't fun, but it was just refreshing. It was
for you for various reasons.
Right.
You know, and just again, I look forward to it. I look forward to it already next year. I'm just like, can we do it again?
Yeah.
I'm ready to. Lonnie just released a video. Did you watch the whole video?
I did. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was great.
I was like, I didn't know you were putting us in the video, like when we were all talking.
You gotta watch out.
I know.
I knew he was.
Yeah, I didn't know he was gonna. I thought he was doing that for his personal.
He was all quiet. Like you could just see him. He was all quiet, and he's just all like,
"Yeah,
well, I know what you're doing."
Did you go to and you went up to the Switch suspension thing, right?
I did. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. So Friday night, Switch and Dixon Flannel hosted the after party in the this like 2-story thing that was right next to the show. They had this like reggae, like Sublime sounding band.
It was Urban Life.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were telling me about that. They were like from the old school like low life videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. I didn't spend a whole bunch of time up there. Just checked it out, but saw a lot of heads up in there. Said what's up to people, and it looked like a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's a super nice venue. I hope that next year he can get both sides of that grass, so the grass becomes the center.
Oh,
so if you're if you have like all those trucks that we're not able to get in can go to that one area, and that can be another part of it. You know, so keep the vendors and everything where it is, but just open up that other side where that RV show was for. Even if it's general parking over there, because it gets people through that grass area. Because that grass area,
that's where I parked because I thought it was general parking, but I guess it wasn't. A lot of people did.
They asked one of my buddy. They're like, "Where are you going?" Like he tried to pull in the RV show, and then they're like, "Where are you going?" He goes, "To the RV show," and he had like a truck shirt on, and they're like, "In that T-shirt." And
they did really?
Yeah, they go in that shirt. He goes, "Yeah." And then even Bubba parked over there and like went to the RV show as well.
That's funny.
Bubba was in the market for a new RV. Bubba's in our club. He came down from NorCal.
Yeah.
And he was like, I went over there, found the RV that I want to buy next, and I went over to the C10 show.
That's funny. That's awesome. I didn't snap a picture of it because my hands were all full at the end of the day. But I did see, there were many trucks in the show. I saw, plenty of S10s. I saw the pretty well-known Hot Wheels truck, that S10 from Down to Earth back in the day. That was Down to Earth, right?
Yeah, one of
the clubs. So I saw those, but I saw I don't know if you know what it is. It's a bagged 4Runner. It's blue. It's not Cotton's 4Runner from Freaks. It's a guy from Arizona, and it has like a lowrider like patterns on the roof. 3rd gen.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, saw that in the parking lot, and I meant to snap a picture, but my hands were full. So yeah, I know everybody enjoyed it. You're right, because it's just a custom show.
And it was rad to see Eduardo from the club.
That was great. Yeah, with his dually. That was awesome.
It's so funny because, he flew out to Bakersfield and picked it up from Danny, who painted it, and then drove it out here. And then he was at my house Thursday night because he towed Danny's truck out here. And he's like, give me a top chip. I want to be in. And I was like, the show's, you're a 2003. You're not going to be able to get in.
Right.
And he's like, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, dude, I've been seeing so many new trucks. And so I don't know. It usually caps out at 98, you know? And
I saw a few new trucks in there.
oh, no, they were, when they opened those gates,
Yeah, it was just like,
it was a free for all. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I wonder if that might change the spirit of the show. I mean, it will always be a Chevy only show, but I wonder if that'll change the spirit a little bit.
I don't know. It's questions that I'm going to meet with Dino, like, oh my gosh. I'm going to meet with Dino like next week. And, those are questions that I'm going to ask him. Like, is he going to stick to it or is he going to keep it open?
Yeah, it'd be real interesting to see his perspective of what he thought, you know? Because, like, everything that's cool always has humble beginnings, you know, and that show's one of them. I talked before about the No Love party that West Coast Chopper used to throw back in the day, which was so I guess this show is more of, it was like an addition to the Good Guys show. But no, you know, you said that they would like have their own thing because the Good Guys show didn't allow newer trucks in to a certain year. So that's like, so the No Love party at West Coast Choppers started off in the same kind of feeling where it was the Love Ride, which is like a Harley owners group ride in Orange County. All these Harley owners would get together and do events and rides and stuff. And then West Coast Choppers, being the way they were, you know, they wanted to do the opposite of that. And so they came up with the No Love party. And it followed like almost the same trajectory as what's going on with this show. Humble beginnings, just a shop party hanging out, to at its peak, like I've said before, at its peak, you know, a giant bike and like car show in the middle of all of this West Coast Choppers complex, and then Metal Militia doing like tricks. You remember how they had those huge ramps? So they would be doing tricks in the middle. So that, like, this show is kind of following that same trajectory. You know, I wonder. So like, I wonder if now it's hit its peak and then it's gonna, you know, whatever, or is it gonna keep going? It's kind of an interesting.
It is, because this show, again, like you said, it was the hangout. Because they didn't want, the Good Guys wouldn't allow the trucks in. Well, then Good Guys noticed how big Dino's was getting, and they're like, okay, yeah, you can come in.
Oh,
But Dino's it was too late. Everyone, the truck guys didn't want to do Good Guys.
They want to go to Dino's.
They wanted their own thing.
Yeah. Because when is Good Guys? Or
Good Guys is usually the same weekend, but actually Good Guys is now this coming weekend.
Oh, okay.
But I think they couldn't do it on the same weekend because there's a game. Maybe a football
game.
It's
going to be at the same place?
No, the Good Guys is at Westworld, which is in Scottsdale.
Oh, okay.
But Dino's is usually the same weekend as Good Guys, but I think Dino's couldn't be the same weekend as Good Guys because he's doing it at the stadium and there was a game the same weekend.
I see.
So,
interesting.
But I always compare it to like Viva Las Vegas.
I was literally about to bring up that next point because, you know, there's an alt show for that show too.
That's right. So Viva started small, got big, huge vendors, very, I don't want to say commercial, but very just.
You could say that.
Yeah. And I only went to Viva once, and it reminded me of this Dino's. And then you had the Viva. I was like the alt Viva, and that was up at the Stratosphere, right? Isn't it like it was?
I can't remember what it was, but it was called. Man, I'm gonna mess it up. I want to say it was called like Rebel Rumble or something like that.
It was basically the people that started going to Viva when it was small. Mm-hmm. It got too big, and they're like, no, now. So I'm hoping that if it doesn't happen to this, because you had
that's what I'm saying.
Like, oh, I couldn't get into Dino's, or oh, it's too big. We're just going to start our own thing on this side of town or something. Mm-hmm. And so I'm wondering, how that's going to go.
It'd be interesting to see how that goes, but I don't know with the okay, I could understand that if there was like. And I don't know, I mean, like, it's so big, I don't know exactly what's going on at all times. But if I was to gather the vibe, I don't think that's going to happen because the vibe was too good. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing, like, even, like, the cruising, which could have been problematic, like, it could have, like, you know, caused some sort of chaos, went really smooth. Like, everybody was in a good vibe. You didn't, like, there wasn't, I don't want to say people causing problems, but there wasn't any, like, adversity. It was... Everybody was chill. Everybody was excited to see each other. Everybody was excited to be there, and everybody was just vibing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't happen to this event because I want to go more.
Yeah, I know. I hope it doesn't either. But you just never know.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Just got to keep going and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So what now? What's next?
Well, that was good. That was a good conversation about that. But do we have anything for dropping in? I looked at the Instagram earlier today. I didn't see too much. Do you have anything?
Oh yeah, we had stuff we didn't ever talk about.
Oh,
last
okay.
week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't see anything. I'm like, oh man, did we run out of questions?
No, we just haven't talked about the other stuff. But I was gonna say when this comes out,
Let me.
but this will be the 28th when it comes out.
Yeah. Which I wanted to say. Oh, hold on. I'm pouring water right now. I wanted to do this in between takes, or not takes, but in between, little pauses. But
Yeah.
I didn't. What was I gonna say? What were we talking about?
This comes out the 28th.
Oh yeah. I wanted to say that when this comes out, my Dockweiler video will have been out for about a week. So if you haven't watched that, please go watch it. I'm in edit mode. So a couple months ago, before like we started doing all these shows, like I think it started with Dockweiler in early October, and then we had we had Louisiana, and then we had Seaman, like all this other stuff. So I'm finally getting to the point where I'm sitting down and I'm editing videos, and I will have a bunch of new content for people to check out.
Cool. Yeah, I should have my last resort video and maybe. Oh yeah, and I have a GSI like vlog video, all my photo shoots that'll be out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'll be fun. I see that behind you, the calendar.
Nope, that's the old one.
Oh, that's the old one? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I checked out the new calendar at the show. It looks amazing. You did a great job.
Thanks, man. It's I think they go on sale the 24th officially.
Okay, cool.
And then
of November?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've been out already. So
Yeah.
go get yours.
Yeah,
Brian
go
shot
get
most of
yours.
the photos in it. They look awesome.
And then I am bailing on the Calacas show, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's taking place the 19th. So by the time you hear this, it'll already be taking place because I got hired to do a photo shoot at Good Guys this weekend. And then, and then Severed will be right after that. Are you bailing on Severed? Say it now.
Oh, you cheeky guy. Possibly. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. So like we're at Joe's house hanging out, and we're leaving, and he's like, I said, okay, I'll see you in a couple weeks at Severed. And he's like, oh, you're coming? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you want a booth? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, like, because you know how he's very limited on space. So, he like has to really plan it out. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, so, and then we're driving home, and I'm like, man, I got to do this in 2 weeks.
I know.
So
Joe has plenty of space. Joe just is he's too hard on himself. He always thinks, I'm going to run out of space. He's like, Joe, you're not going to run out of space. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. So I'm going to, this week is the week of the 15th. So I'm going to let him know I'm going to make a decision by the end of the week. So, hey, look, even Calacas this weekend, I don't know, and it's so close, but I mean, we do this so often that there is some burnout,
No, there is. It's exactly what it is. And it's, again, when I tell people that I can't make it or whatever, I can't feel bad about that.
That's true.
You just can't do it. And if you want me to go, like if you're like, oh, I thought you were going to make a video, you can hire me to make a video if you want, because that is essentially my job as well. But the reason I'm not going to the car show is because I'm being hired by someone. So it's like, it's just one of those things. It's
mine is a much more flimsy excuse.
Yeah, but it's still essentially the same thing because you have stuff that you have to do.
Yeah.
During the week, and you have responsibilities, and some days you just need time to relax.
No, I've had to tell myself that more and more lately, and I don't want to sound like some pretentious hustle, that hustle mentality, whatever. But sometimes you have to tell yourself I just need to just stop today, and and that goes back to our sports conversation. That's why I enjoy sports so much, because I can just check out for a couple hours,
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. So, and then
What you got for dropping in? Welcome to Dropping In with Frank and Brian, where we drop in on your drop questions. That was a lot of drop.
That was a lot of drop. Let me see what we have. I screen capped him a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got done. All right, we have 3, and we can pick between 3.
Okay. Start with the middle one. Whichever.
Okay, that's the middle one. All right, that's Rich Shoe Chuck.
Oh yeah, yeah. You mentioned this in last week's episode that he had a good question for us.
He said,
Rich,
first of all, Rich in Canada.
In Canada, part of our club for Ben Fantasy.
He owns Overkill Customs. Mm-hmm. Says, first of all, miss you two idiots.
Miss you too, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think you're an idiot. I think you're a very smart individual. No, just kidding. No, wait, what?
I think you're an idiot, Rich.
Nah.
Okay, it says, do you guys think that people spending the extra time to paint, powder coat, polish engine bays, and do a lot of interior mods, basically at car shows, hoods open, windows down, or doors open to show off the work they've done? Or do you think things will continue to go the way they seem to have the last 5 years, body dropped with big wheels and hoods closed, windows up? Frank, haha. Just kidding. It says, I know they photo better that way, but it seems the show truck is dying off in favor of clean and simple. Each have their place, but wondering what your guys' thoughts are. And I have a thought on that.
Okay, go ahead. We'll start with yours.
All right. I film a lot of trucks that are body dropped with big wheels and big brakes, and they have full custom engine bays and full custom interiors. Now, if you're talking about mini trucks, and like specifically mini trucks, it's harder for mini trucks to do that sort of thing because, again, depending on where you live, it's hard to clean up engine bays because you have emissions, because you have certain things that make that in a newer vehicle that you can't really do that to. If you go down to Australia, where I don't think they have too much emissions, they have a lot of cleaner engine bays, but there's still a lot of trucks out there with clean engine bays and clean interiors. I think he's talking about like super big modifications to them though, like shaved firewalls and then full interiors and stuff like that. I don't know.
So that's So for me, he like kind of answered his own question. Like number one, it's the reason I just keep my truck shut all the time is because it, as a person who does a lot of video and photos and stuff, it does look cleaner. So like I want the opportunity if someone wants to take a nice photo of my truck or take some video that it looks good. It's really hard to get a sense of the vehicle when all the doors are open, the hood is open, the back is open. It loses the shape of the vehicle, so it's kind of hard to photograph and film. And to kind of talk about what you were talking about like, the emissions and stuff. A lot of people don't know my truck is fully done underneath the hood too. It's got tubs, they're painted, everything is painted, everything. It's not like I don't have any like super polished like chrome parts or anything, but what's there is clean and it's tidy and it's stock and it has all the smog stuff on it. But it goes back to that thing where it's like, I don't like it when the hood's open and the doors are open. I just like to keep it shut.
I think if you have mods under the hood or in the interior, then open them. I understand the video and the photo thing, but at the same time, he's talking about show trucks.
Oh, like people who are competing?
No, not competing, but just a show truck, something that you spent a lot of money on. Like,
yeah, I mean,
if you're going to have a fully done outside of your vehicle, you should have a fully done inside of your vehicle. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, you're going to show it off. The reason you don't do it is because you don't have a fully done show inside of your show truck.
Well, I mean, not the interior, but under the hood is.
No, I know, but even in the interior, like I guarantee you, the second you get a full custom interior, you'll open the doors more because you want to show off what you put your money into.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's definitely. So, I mean, I can't speak to that because I don't. So maybe I will. But I mean, I leave the windows rolled down and the sunroof open, so if someone wants to take a peek inside, they can. I don't know.
At least like if you had imagine if you had like a full blown stereo in the back too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just I think it depends on where you put your money at is where you want people to see your truck.
Yeah, I've always. Go ahead.
Because you can have, like he was saying, or do you think it'll go the way of like body drops and big wheels? Well, you can have all of that.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
You can have body drop, big wheels, full interior, full motor, but
like panels and like metal panels underneath that are painted. Yeah, I've seen it all. Like I think I don't know. Like what I was gonna say, my final thought on my thing, even though I don't have the interior done at this moment, and I've said this before. This is what I was gonna say. I said this before. I'm just like not a good show truck owner guy.
I'm
like
the same way.
I don't know. Maybe this might make me sound bad, but I just want to roll up, park it and go hang with my friends. Like I'm not,
Well,
I respect, you know, all the dudes out there who get to the show, and this is a lot of people do this, and I respect it. You know, they're polishing the wheels and they're making sure their paint's looking good, and they spend, you know, a couple hours. But then again, like from my perspective also, it's because I have so much other stuff to do that I don't really have time to do that. So I just kind of roll up, lay it out, and then just do my other things, like hang out with friends and film, and if we have a booth, we're selling. So my perspective is a unique one because I don't go to a show to just show. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I go there for a bunch of different reasons. So maybe if I didn't have to do those reasons, I found myself on my daily, actually, it's really funny. Like when we got to your house, you know, Friday morning, we got up and Danny's getting his truck ready. And I'm all like, I don't know. I just had this urge. I'm like, I'm going to polish my chrome wheels. So I like wipe down the wheels and stuff. So I don't know.
No, it is definitely a thing because I've had a full show truck with the engine done, the interior done, the bed done. Mm-hmm. And when I did go to show it, I didn't want to leave the tonneau down and not show back there. I want to put it up.
You want to show it off. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, like for video and photo purposes, I like when hoods are down. I'll ask people to shut their hoods and their doors, though.
I'll do that every once in a while. You know, if it's really busy and unless like, and this is just for convenience, unless the person is right there, you know, and they're not very busy. But if stuff is busy, you know, I still try to. I'm not like, if I see the doors open and stuff, it's not like I'm not going to film it because I still, because it does that offer some more shots, like, you know, showing off the interior. So it's it's just like everything else. It's just like we can't have like this hard stand. Like we demand that you leave your stuff down.
Well, yeah.
Who are we?
I think like when you think of when he's talking too about comparing like a clean truck, like say your truck, when you get your interior done, you're going to have like your seats are going to be nice material. Your like trunk, you know what I mean? It's going to be just carpeted probably. It's not going to have like integrated amplifiers and an integrated tank and an integrated speakers and all that stuff. It's just going to be clean. I think that's what he's comparing it to. So like that's a full show where yours is going to be just clean. I've heard this comparison too asked and talked about before with like body mods, where you have most people right now, the trend is very clean, no body mods, just laid out, you know, and we're not seeing all the shaved stuff as much anymore. We're not seeing all the custom body mods. So I think that's more or less what he was trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think I agree with you. Like he's more talking about that's almost, and I don't want to put words in Rich's mouth, but it's almost like he's saying like, what are we not doing a bunch of custom stuff now? Now we're just bag and body and wheels and that's it. When I don't think that's fair, because even if you had, like, let's say you're building an OBS truck, it's a little easier with like brand new trucks because they're super clean and brand new anyway. You could just bag and body them and be done with it. But let's say you wanted to build an OBS truck and you found one that's old, and you still need to go through and you need to clean up all the wiring and you need to make sure everything looks nice, even if you're going for a completely stock look. So although it's not as much effort as something like building panels and doing all this crazy stuff, there's still effort involved in getting it like that. You know, so like I said, it's a bit unfair to almost say like, well, you're not even trying kind of thing.
I wouldn't say not really even trying. I mean, I get, because like if you look at their Blazer, it's got the amp displayed. It's got, you know what I mean, this stuff. And it seems to me like now more people are just trying to hide that stuff.
Yeah, because
And are they doing it? Is it a personal choice, or are they doing it because it's easier?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's up to the individual person. Yeah. You know, for me, like, I don't know. It's funny because with my truck being, you know, as finished as it is underneath the hood, I kind of didn't, that was just sort of like happened. It sounds dumb, but it just sort of happened. I didn't tell Alan, like, I want this like nicely painted, or I didn't tell, you know, Bobby, like, I want this custom thing made. It was sort of just like it happened, you know? So maybe that's another reason why I'm not so like, because it just was a byproduct.
I also think it goes back to what you were saying about budget with the kit, the Tacoma kit. You know, if you have we always build our trucks based on our budgets. So like my OBS that I'm building is based on my budget.
Right.
If it was not if my budget was not involved,
it
would be a full chassis. It would be an LS motor. It would be full custom interior.
Big
with
brakes.
the big old, big brakes and all that stuff. So, yeah, and it's all, and maybe it's based on your budget and then also your skills. So, like where Rich has a lot of skills, he can like make the amp visible and the tank and put it wherever he wants. Where you can't just like go out in the garage and go, you know what, I'm going to make my trunk. I'm going to put my tank in there and I'm going to display this. You're just kind of at the beck and call of the people that know how to do it.
That's a good point.
And then also your budget of wants. So
Yeah.
I always say it too. Budget really affects what we like.
Oh, for sure. Oh, because are you talking about my four-door love?
I think everybody. No, I think that it kind of affects everyone because you're trying to justify what you have. Sometimes a lot of people try to justify what they have. I do it with my OBS. I would rather have a standard cab. Can't afford a standard cab. I got an extra cab. So I'm like, I like extra cabs better than standard cabs.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And I don't. I like standard cabs better.
I see what you're saying. Like, which does lend to my four-door thing because I would rather have a two-door than a four-door. If
some though, because like you've even said how some of the four doors are built, they look better with the windows down and such like that. So there's so many variables that we could talk about, and we could say our opinions are this or our opinions are that or your opinions are stupid. Which, Rich, most of the time your opinions are stupid. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Everything that he's doing to the Mazda is amazing.
Dude, the Mazda's looking great. Yeah, no, that thing is looking so cool.
We will drop a photo of Rich's Mazda right here.
And then he's building, I shouldn't say he's building, him and his daughter are building another Mazda for her that's turning out super nice.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty much just her. She is cool. Very fortunate. She's very fortunate to have Rich as a father because now she's got this rad Mazda mini truck that she just daily drives.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool.
Yeah.
So what else you got? That was the middle one. Thanks, Rich.
Yeah, we're at what, an hour? So
yeah, we'll do one more. Let's do one more.
All right. Jordan, our buddy NR Jordan.
Oh yeah.
He said, "What's up, guys? Love the latest episode, and I have a question. When it comes to features or shooting a truck, is it better for the photographer or magazine to come to you because that means your truck caught their eye and it's them wanting to feature it, rather than you go to them, or does it really matter?"
I mean, this is all your world right here. Because like I even overheard you talking to a few people, at the show. Like, I think it. I'm gonna let you say from your perspective. I just want to like have a quick thought on it. What's the goal? Is it some dude just building a truck to build it, and then one day a magazine's like, oh, this is cool, or do people like build stuff with the idea that it is going to go into a magazine and they want to know which one it's going into?
Yeah, and it's all a weird topic, but it also relates to what you do too, because in the video world, I've had people hit me up and they're like, "Hey, will you feature my truck?" And I'm like, when something catches my eye for a video feature, then I want to do it. I don't really I don't know. I don't do a ton of video features, and like you don't really do a ton of video features, but you do them on trucks that you like. Yeah, because you're like, I really like Jose's truck, so I'm gonna, you did a feature on that, or Georgie's, and that's kind of where I'm at too with video features. I'm just like, I want to do them to the ones I like. Not that I don't like if you like your truck, if you're like, hey, do a video feature on my truck. It's not that I don't like your truck. It's just that I don't know. It's a very hard thing to kind of answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because like you have to like, if you're, so I think that's like kind of like a different way to go, because like what you're saying is like for Grindr TV, like shooting for that channel, going after stuff you like, because you have to take the time and effort and to make something like that. I think maybe what he's talking about is like magazines, because you work for a lot of magazines. Yeah. So like, I think maybe that's what he's trying to get to the point of, is like, how does it go about being in that world, into the media world, as far as magazines are concerned? What's better, the magazine approaching the person or the person shopping the magazines? And that's sort of what I was saying. Like, I overheard you talking to a few people, like they're shopping, like they just built this $100,000 truck and now they're shopping which magazine that is going to go,
Jordan has a mini truck, so he's very limited on magazines that he can be in versus having a full size or an older truck. But yeah, I think if you're building a truck, you definitely should reach out to the magazine editor and tell them like if you're building a mini truck, you should 100% hit up street trucks, and say, hey, because they don't know all the trucks that are being built out there. They only rely on their freelancers and themselves to see what they see at shows. And sometimes that's a downfall of the magazines because they're like for instance, Street Trucks did a mini truck only magazine recently. And they've done one before, but in that magazine, they ran features that were previously ran in magazines years ago.
Yeah.
When, everyone can have an opinion on that or whatever. But I think if you have a new build, these magazines should be looking at new builds.
Right.
Because they've never been in a magazine or they deserve the attention or the feature. So, yeah, if you're building a truck, I would definitely hit up the magazine to get their attention.
Yeah. So you're saying reach out and maybe just like, keep in touch with the editors, like say like the build process and like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what it's going to look like, But also there's like, it would be pretty cool to just build something and then someone come along and say, hey, this thing is so cool. I want to put it in a magazine.
That's going to happen most likely with C10s and OBSs because you got Street Truck, C10 Builder's Guide, CK, and Classic Truck Performance. That's 4 magazines that are looking for those trucks. So they're in competition with each other essentially. So they're going to look for the newest and things that have not been featured yet. So, yeah.
Well, get out there, go hustle it in.
Yeah. There's definitely nothing wrong with hitting up a magazine editor to show them what you're building.
Maybe that's also what he's trying to say. Is it like a,
like, do you wait or do you?
Yeah. Like what's the etiquette? Like, is the etiquette chasing them down? Is it waiting? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one. I would say the etiquette would be definitely get their attention, but don't constantly get their attention.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a what's the right word I'm looking for? Like not a fine line, but there's definitely a way to do it and a way not to do it. Just like everything else in life.
Yeah. Don't pay attention to us because we usually do things the way you're not supposed to.
Yeah, right. And I'm talking from a guy who's like has a 4Runner. Like what? I don't have any saying nothing.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
No.
Well, cool. That was a great question. So right on. So
you want to do another one or not?
I think we're wrapping it up.
Yeah.
We'll save that one. We'll save that one for next week.
This one from Jesse. Is about it's about magazines and
okay, yeah, we can answer that. We can do it on another one.
We can,
but we need more questions. We need more questions, so make sure you guys are asking them. Go into our Instagram, The Drop with Frank and Brian, dropping them. That's probably the best place. Like I say, drop them in the comments and stuff, but more and more I'm realizing that's the best place to go.
What message them?
Message them to the Drop IG.
Yeah, I would say Drop IG one, or if you put them in the comments, those are 2 places that we can look. We don't get a lot of comments on the videos, so we can pay attention to them. But yeah, just message them and we'll figure it out. And go to Dino's next year. It'd be fun. Yeah, definitely. Definitely watch all the videos that are out there, not just ours, but everybody's videos that they're making. And you're going to be like, I need to go. Unless you hate C10s. Even then, you should just go because it's a ton of fun. Yeah. You may be like me. No, I'm just kidding. I've always liked them. I've always liked C10s. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. So thanks for checking out this week's show. Make sure you go to our websites, grinder-tv.com, livelifecustom.com. We always have giveaways going on. We're still working on our next giveaway. Yeah. Working on that. That's a thing. Yeah. That's a thing. That's a thing. That's the thing. We'll figure it out. Stay tuned. Go to our websites. Buy merch. We really appreciate when you guys do that. That's what keeps this whole thing going is buying merch. Yes. So we'll see you next week. Later.